Hello teacups, what's brewing? Sorry for the delay. As you can hear, I've been quite sick for the last couple of days. I actually took a sick day from work just because I can feel a cough coming on. If at any point you have a weird cut, it's probably because I'm coughing, sneezing, or doing something else disgusting that I don't want immortalized on film. Yeah? So, a lot happened since I last spoke to you. Geez, where even are we? Chantal's channel got taken down, the Biza show. I'm gonna call it Chantal's channel because I'm not dealing with this nonsense of, oh, it's a business and it's not owned by me. Like, just shut up. You know what you're doing. But anyway, she's been playing around and she got taken down and then it came back up and now it's monetized. Like, what? I'm not sure what's going on with YouTube's decision to monetize the Biza show, but she's been quite cocky since because she's feeling a bit more confident in spending presumably thousands of dollars. I think she said the trip was $1,300, but that doesn't count anything she buys or spends before and during. So thousands of dollars, presumably, on a trip to Cuba, because that's a sensible thing to do with what you thought was your last paycheck. But we'll move on because I've got a lot more to say about Cuba. And we'll get there. We still have no news for her original channel, Foodie Beauty. We will see, I suppose. I just don't know. I don't know, but we're here and this is where we're remaining. She claims she's going to keep up with all her other social media, which I will believe when I see. But I mean, maintaining one of them would be a good idea because I think it really did scare her when she didn't have YouTube temporarily. And I think if I were her, sorry for the car horn outside, if I were her, I would start just widening my base a little bit if I could, but I don't think she has the ability to maintain both platforms, I wouldn't say correctly, like successfully is probably a better way to say that. If she were a little smarter, she would probably, someone explained the difference between Twitch affiliation and Twitch partnership to me. And that was what was going on with not being able to stream on multi-platforms. Apparently, if you're an affiliate, you can, but you get a worse cut of what you make. But if you're a partner, you get a better cut, but you have to be exclusive. Apparently. I might be misunderstanding. I'm not in the headspace to go looking through the terms and conditions right now. That's as far as I understand it. But if she were to build Twitch, get monetized there, continue doing YouTube, build Twitch, get monetized there, then she could post her streams on Twitch to YouTube, get paid twice on them because people viewing them on there could also earn her revenue and keep going. But again, it would take her all the time and I don't think she'll go into it at all. But you know, we might see the gaming arc yet, who knows? She's buying device after device after device, which also, Jesus, the amount of money this woman has spent on electronics in the last few weeks is insane. But what I actually want to talk about today is her trip to Cuba. And I know a lot of people were like, oh, on Twitter, the patronizing, poor Milky, you really think she's going? Oh, sweetheart. No, dudes. The reason I think she's going, yes, she has pulled out trips before. We're seeing more and more content about it, so I do think she's going. But even when she announced it, the fact that it was March 29th, that it was her birthday, gave us a much better chance of seeing it because she booked it on impulse last minute, which I think means she's intending on going because she only had about a week before booking it and actually doing it. So she went to Winners to shop for her trip to Cuba. And I tell you, the more I hear her talk about it, the more obvious it is to me that she has no idea how to travel internationally. And traveling internationally is kind of my wheelhouse with me working abroad, with me doing it quite a lot. So sometimes I forget that it's totally normal for people not to do it as much. But Chantal said the last time she was on a plane it was either 2003 or 2004. So she really has not traveled in a very long time. And I don't think the expectations she seemed to have necessarily line up with reality. I got some pictures of some of the stuff she bought and then didn't realize, because I wasn't caught up because I've been napping a lot, that she actually did a haul later, which I've now watched part of. I haven't quite finished it, unfortunately, but enough to get a few talking points. So I took a few pictures, but her camera was pretty potato quality for some of this. But she bought a suitcase. Now, these suitcases, an advantage of them is the 4 wheels. I always prefer that in an airport, if at all possible. It just makes it easier. It's really nice to slide along. But I don't actually love these shell suitcases. I find them quite bulky, and I find, because when I travel, I'm usually moving my life abroad. I do find that they take up too much of the weight allowance. Now, I do recognize this tends to be a little bit different. In Canada and America, you tend to do the piece system, which is where you get a bag, and that is what you get. And I think your weight allowance for that bag is quite high. Whereas in the UK and in most of the rest of the world, it goes by weight. So if I've got 23 kilos in my bag and 6 of those kilos are the case, it seems like a waste to me. Whereas I always go for like soft cover, as lightweight as I can. But people like these ones, they can be quite snazzy to look at, which is all I think she's done. She's looked at them and been like, ooh, pretty. I don't think she's considered the weight limit, but then she's going on what seems to be a short trip. It's a resort holiday. She really doesn't need to take very much. These will serve her purpose. I did laugh a little bit though when she was like, is this right for cabin? And I was like, oh, honey, that's some shit you need to check. I don't know what airline she's going on, but every airline, sorry, this is going to end up being like travel tips with milk. Every airline have their own exact measurements in terms of what they'll allow in a cabin. Another reason not to really use these hard shell super bulky ones, because they do take up more space. But some airlines will be really shady about it, like the budget airlines, Ryanair particularly, I'm thinking, which is a budget airline. It's an Irish airline that does a lot of short European trips in the UK. They set their baggage allowance, their baggage dimensions for cabin baggage to be slightly smaller than the standard, and then people get caught out and end up having to pay to check it, because they don't allow for checked baggage automatically. It's something you have to add because it's a no-frills airline. Like, you really do have to be careful. And I think, as a general point, I think she thinks she's going to be able to talk around airports as easily as she managed to talk around the border control for Canada the first time she went through. And that is not how airports work, my friend. Man, she starts crying in an airport, no one's going to give a shit. So we'll see how this goes. She was going to get the bigger one as well. It'll be fine for her purposes. I don't know if she did. I don't necessarily, but this might again be me just being like, no, I would never. I don't think she necessarily, for this smaller trip, needs 2 cases. She could probably do it in a hand luggage, or I would say save yourself the hassle of having 2 bags. Just put on like a handbag or a laptop bag and have the big case that you check. Because she's going to have to do that because of some of the liquids she bought later, which is another conversation we'll have. But I personally, if I'm traveling alone, try to minimize the amount of bags I have because it's less hassle for me. She then went and got a little Bon Voyage passport holder. I get to think of the word then. I like these as a thing, but I will admit I tend to prefer them because it's easy to spot storage when I'm not using it more than when I am. And here's the reason. I have a really cute one from Cath Kidston. One sec. So I bought this a few years ago when I was living in Cardiff because they were having a sale and it was just cute. It's got a place for a little bag for currency. It's got a place for this. I like it because I can slip my boarding pass into it and it's somewhere safe that I'm not going to lose it, which is my big fear when I'm walking around in airports. But mostly because I have so many documents involved in me needing to leave the country, I tend to have this in my bag, my laptop bag, and this inside it. So when it comes to actually using it, this can be a bit of a hassle because I have to open it up and I get the passport out. But if I'm going to go back and forth between it, it's just an extra step. But I do like it for smaller trips when I'm not having to worry so much about the paperwork. Because when I leave here, I need like a re-entry visa and all the COVID stuff and all of that. So now that things are loosening up a bit, this may end up being a little bit more useful. So I'm not going to knock her for it. I get why she's got it. I don't think she's going to use it as much as she thinks she's going to, but they're nice enough things to have. She doesn't need to keep currency in there. She says that her vaccine card is on her phone anyway. So depending on whether the phone works, which is a whole other thing, but she likes it. She's excited about a trip. Have it if you want. We'll talk a little bit about it. Actually, no, we can talk about it now. She was talking about all the stuff she was going to put into it. She was going to put all her cards, the currency that she doesn't seem to have ordered yet. Personally, I never order currency, but I always tell my bank that I'm going so my card doesn't get cancelled. And she has a history of not doing that. And she was getting spammed in her chat when she was doing a haul saying, call your bank company. And she was just either not seeing or ignoring it. So I don't know if she's going to do that. The places I've been most recently on my travels, I've been able to just take my bank card. And because I've told my bank, I've been able to pull out in local currency from an ATM, either at the airport or wherever. So it has, or I've been able to just straight pay with it. But, you know, it's different me being in Dubai versus her being in Cuba. So I would say just check these things out. But, you know, she talks about wanting to be prepared, but she is very much not so. I'm not sure, what is the currency in Cuba? I've never been to Cuba. I don't know what the currency is, but she could potentially order some, or if it's readily available in the exchange places. I personally, if she's never been and there's might potentially be problems with her bank cards, I would say go exchange some currency, but it depends on how available it is to her, really. I would want, just because I've got this, I suppose it's a stereotype, but I've got this impression of Cuba, I suppose, that it might be hard with the banking systems, just knowing its history, but I simply don't know. And because I don't know, I'd either look it up or I would get some cash on me. But we'll see how that goes for her, shall we? She bought a pill case, which wasn't the best of ideas. One, because she's already had multiple of those. I've seen her order them on Amazon. They are somewhere in the hoard. But two, she's going on a plane. She's going to need to identify the medication she has, assuming she takes them, which is frequently something she doesn't do. But yeah, I would keep it in the packet if I were traveling with it. The water bottle she bought. Why? I'm sorry, why? It made no sense to me. I was just like, why would you carry? It's a sizable thing. It takes up space. It has weight. Why would you take that? I don't understand. And she's like, I want to walk with it on the beach. One, she's not going to be walking on the beach that much. I'm sorry. Like, it's going to be hot. She's going to be uncomfortable. She could get tired quickly. She's not going to need that water bottle. Two, I'm not sure the water is drinkable in Cuba or not. Because if it's not, then she has to buy bottles of water, and what, she's going to open those bottles of water to pour it into her water bottle? This is an unnecessary purchase. I don't see the point of it. It's just going to take up space. It's going to cause more trouble than it's worth. The travel containers for liquids when you travel. I get why people do this. I do. Especially if you have a really expensive product that you just want to take a little of. But generally when I travel, my liquids are makeup, which I'm not going to bother depotting. And most of the things I travel with come under the limits. The limits are 100 milliliters. So you can get your foundation. It's not going to be 100 milliliters usually. My face creams are usually, 50 milliliters? So I'll have a day moisturizer, a night moisturizer. And then for makeup, liquids, I might have like a foundation, something like that. So shampoo and conditioner, I mean, to be fair, I got no hair under here, so what do I care? And the same for her. She doesn't have a lot of hair. She shaves her head just like I do, so she doesn't need to take shampoo conditioner with it, not because you never use it, but because there's no reason to specially take it. You can buy it there. She's going to a resort, yeah? There will be some kind of shop Just get it there and don't bother taking it back and forth. What's the point? Now, yes, it might be a little more expensive where she's going, but it's not like waste has ever concerned her before, you know? And it's not like saving money has ever really concerned her before. So given the way she makes decisions, I don't see why you would buy this. Go to the trouble of depotting some of your products into it. And then what? She'll probably just leave it there anyway. Just get some shampoo, conditioner when you get there and save yourself the trouble. The case for the AirPods, she said she wanted it to just go into a bag. The AirPods came with a case. I remember the AirPods coming with a case. I don't know why she needs this. I guess just because it was shiny. Somebody in her live after this mentioned power plugs and the fact that she was going to need an adapter. And she was like, no, I don't. Do I? No, I don't. Really? I was like, of course you do, you dozy mare. What a thought. Now, admittedly, sometimes you get lucky. Right now, where I am in Saudi Arabia, they use 3-pin plugs and the same voltage as we use in the UK. So theoretically, I don't need converters. However, they switched to that voltage and those plug types a bit later, and it just happens that when my apartment was built, sorry, my brain's a little bit fuzzy. When my apartment was built, they were still putting in the 2-pin plugs. So I've got to put adapter like sockets on every socket I have in my house to use it, which is ideal. But not only is she going to need a plug adapter, there is a really good chance that she's going to need a voltage adapter as well, I guess. Because what is the voltage? Hang on, I'm going to look it up. What is the voltage for Canada? I feel like the Canadian voltage is maybe lower. Voltage Canada, 120 volts. Okay, so Canada works on 120 and Cuba... Okay, Cuba switches. Cuba's got some 110 and some 220. Okay, power supply in Cuba is mainly 110, but some newer hotels operate at 220. So we don't know. We don't know based on her resort if that's going to be okay or not. I tell you now from experiences of American friends visiting and of me making the mistake myself, if you put a lower voltage device into a plug in the UK we run 230 volt, 240. And if you plug in an American like device or American plug into a socket like that, it just starts smoking. Like it's not doing it. You'll melt straight through. Like you got to be careful. Yeah. So she's got to just check that out. If she's in a newer hotel, she may be in for a shock. So yeah, like you need to look at adapters and potentially voltage. This is going to be particularly important for her because I'm assuming that she's going to be traveling with her life-saving machine and she's going to be taking like her sleep stuff with her, right? I mean, again, any sane person, but this is her, right? Voltage is going to be an important thing. She bought sriracha salt, which isn't something I've seen her use before, so I'm not sure why it was so important to her. Apparently, people said that Cuban food is bland, which isn't what I imagine when I think of Cuba. Personally, I would say, how about you try the food first? You know? Like, go see. I'm sure they've got salt in the country. Go see and then figure it out. Like, this is what you're worrying about of all things. Then we go to Walmart and she decides to get into the scooter around the store, which she knows exactly what she's doing. She's smiling. It's a bit, but at the same time, seriously, you're telling us you're going to manage in Cuba, even in a resort in Cuba, by yourself, and you won't even walk around a store despite the fact we've just seen you do it in a previous store. Come on now. You can do better. Do better, Foodie. So they go into Walmart and get all her toiletries. She chooses an aerosol can for her bug spray, which I don't think I would. I try not to travel with aerosols. You can travel with them. It's not forbidden. Depending on where you put them versus like check luggage, hand luggage, whatever, there are different rules and she's got to be careful. They're treated like a liquid, but they're bulky. Like you're literally carrying cans of air and stuff in them. Like there's no need to. Save yourself the space, get one of the pump sprays, and that's what I do. It's the same with deodorant. If I'm traveling, well, anyway, but even if I'm not traveling, I will just get a roll-on because it's just easier to be like, no, this is definitely okay, and it's going to take up as small a space as possible. I was pleased to see her get some sunscreen. She got some for body, some for face. She was going to pick up a factor 30 and I was like, no, honey, get more than that. And then, as if she had heard me, she did in fact get more. She also debated on a set of adult diapers for a really long time. Yeah, like she thought about it. Now, I actually am not really judging her on that because she was like, what if I have an accident? And if the possibility is there, because you know how it is on a plane, or maybe you don't, sometimes you want to go to the bathroom and you look up and the thing is engaged and someone is waiting outside and there's no other option. She can't go shit in the woods if she's up in the air, you know? So if she really can't wait, that's, I mean, a big issue for her in general that I wish she would address with a doctor and maybe change her diet to help her IBS or whatever it is. But I think if she knows she's going to be encased in a place and she has to plan, I'd rather she planned for it, quite frankly, you know. But she was like, no, I refuse, which fair. I get the pride issue. She's like, oh, I don't want to. She does get some Imodium. She chooses liquid over tablet. Again, in terms of traveling, why? Why would you choose to take additional liquids with you to wherever you're going on a plane? Just get the pills. And someone in the chat asked, it was Rad Plaid, I have a question. What do you think leg room is going to do for you? You're 5 feet tall. Really good point. She had said before that, oh, I got the extra leg room because I think she thinks that it's done to scale. I was trying to think of the word then. It's done to scale. So if the leg room is bigger, the seat will be bigger, and actually the opposite is true. Again, if you don't do international travel, this is a big one where if you're at the front of the plane to get the extra leg room, which she emphatically does not need, the width of the seat is actually smaller because the arms on the seat are fixed. And I think for her, she's going to be so close to not fitting in that seat, or she's outright not going to fit in it. I don't think that's going to help her. If it was a borderline thing, because she does carry a lot of weight forward, we've seen her from behind look very different. So theoretically, maybe she could sit in a seat and be okay even at her weight. But she is making things a lot harder on herself. I put it up on Twitter, I was like, but what? Why though? Because she's already, if she fits in, it will be a miracle, but it will be borderline, definitely. I think it's more likely that the seat is not going to be designed to accommodate her. And in that case, because I've done it, I've flown at my highest weight knowing that it was going to be a tight fit and not having another choice, I would recommend her getting an aisle seat and being able just to kind of lean out a little bit to try and not encroach on the person next to her as much as possible. And then just give her a little bit more literal wiggle room. You know, give her a full-size seat and give her a bit more space to work with as and when is needed. But I don't think she realizes at all how uncomfortable she is going to be doing this. She does talk about potentially having to buy a second seat, which is, if she was going to do economy, I think she should have just done. Then she wouldn't have to worry about it being a question in the airport because she would already have that second seat. Depending on the cost of doing that, it may have just been worth it to upgrade to business and be more comfortable for the whole duration of the trip. But it's only a 4-hour trip, so it's possible that it wouldn't have been that expensive, you know? Who knows? But she hasn't checked, and I guess she'll find out in the airport, and I'm just hoping, as much as foodie is foodie and she should really prepare for these things, the way airlines can treat you can frequently not be consistent. in terms of how they will address you, how publicly they will address you about their accommodating passengers of size. Like, I don't want her to be humiliated in the airport. I think she's going to humiliate herself in the airport more than enough, in which case, well, you made your choices. But it's an awkward situation to be in. I'm sure the staff don't want to deal with it either. It's just not nice all around. Like, save yourself the trouble. She's got the money to waste, apparently. I say apparently because we all know how the channel thing is going right now. But I just do yourself a favour, you know? But she hasn't, and we will see. She was panicking a little bit about it, though. She may call an upgrade, who knows? I hope she does. I think it would be more comfortable for the people around her. I think it would be a worry off her mind. She bought joggers for the beach. What? Why? Why are you buying sweatpants for the beach? You will sweat, my dear, hence the name. I guess she will find that out herself, but that sounds like a really uncomfortable piece of clothing to be wearing in the sand. Someone asked her, how are you traveling with money troubles? And she emphatically did not answer. She immediately, she immediately distracted with a food question. She thinks she's up to date with restrictions. Okay then, well that sounds like you've got it all figured out. I am concerned. She is concerned but excited. I am just kind of concerned at the moment, but I will talk a bit about at the end about how I feel about her doing this trip. The airport, she says, oh, I don't know, I might pay for private transport because you have to get on the shuttle. I'm guessing this is a shuttle made by the resort, because it's, I think, an all-inclusive resort she's going to, which is the kind of trip I'd recommend for her, to be honest. Just keep it simple, go, have everything provided. And she calls it a starter trip at one point. Like, yeah, this is the kind of thing I think she can handle right now. But the thing with it is that it is just designed to hold your hand the whole way. So just go, look at the sign, get on the shuttle, save yourself the aggro. Don't get in a random taxi. Don't go looking for private transport. Just follow all the other people and get on that. It seems like an easier option, you know? She did mention she wanted to put everything in her little Bon Voyage case. I would recommend keeping something separate just in case you lose that, which is what I think is going to happen. I always try and keep something separate just in case, and I realize that increases the chance of losing it, but at the same time, if anything happens, if something gets stolen, you've got something separate. I do the same with, in my hand luggage, I always try and put a couple of pairs of underwear and like an extra shirt, just so if my luggage goes missing, I try and have something with me so I can change my clothes the next day if I'm waiting for it to arrive. It's just a backup, you know, like if you've got 2 cards, keep one with everything else, keep one just safe somewhere, be it in the hotel safe or whatever. Let's see, I'm going to make sure I'm well prepared now for the border she's talking about. And I'm like, honey, have you sorted out your visa? We were discussing this a little bit with Polpy because he was talking about it and I wasn't sure what the visa was for Canadians. I know for the UK, you can apply a week in advance or you can pay extra and you can apply a day in advance. If either of those things are true for her, she's already missed the cutoff for the week, but she could potentially get the day, but she doesn't even seem to have thought about it. And again, crying at the border isn't going to get her anywhere, which is why I think when we talk about all the stuff she's going to need in the airport, these are the issues I think she's going to face. Now, travel agents can take care of that for you, I think, or they could be part of that process when you book it. So fingers crossed someone's doing it for her, otherwise she's in for a big surprise. And, the upgrade, sorry, I've got notes that I can't really read now. So she's considering upgrading her seating, which we've talked about already. So yeah, I don't think she's prepared at all. I don't actually know what the restrictions are for traveling to Cuba right now with COVID, which is a whole nother story. She is vaccinated, but I don't believe she's boosted, is she? So in terms of free movement, I'm not sure what she needs. She did say she was going to print out her vaccinations. to prove it. So I guess that must be enough. But I check it. Is she going to need a PCR test coming back? I feel like maybe yes, but I don't know. And the fact that I don't know means she probably doesn't know, and she should probably check. I would hope that the resort would have the ability to direct her, and that she would realize she needed it after our last trip to America. But we'll see, because if there's one thing Foodie has always shown, it's her absolute inability to learn from her mistakes. So, we're going to have to see how this goes. On a different note, though, despite all of the problems I've just mentioned, despite the fact that this seems like a really stupid time to book an international trip, with everything to do with her channel being up in the air and her money just not being secure and her owing so much in back taxes and just all of this, all of that notwithstanding, it's kind of nice to see her do something. I'm a huge advocate of going out and traveling if you can afford to do so. I think it's a great life experience, and it's something she's been talking about doing for a long time. Now, I think she's in for quite the shock of the process of traveling, but if she can just get over that and next time, like I say, learn some lessons and next time plan better or know more what, excuse me, or know more what to expect, it would be nice if we could see her go on trips and kind of try things more, because for a long time, even though now it's not the case, for a long time she did have a huge amount of money that she was just tossing down the drain that could have gone into life experiences like this, and we just weren't seeing it happen. So I think it's a weird time to do it right now, but I'm kind of glad to see it because it shows her doing something and anything with her life other than what we've seen thus far. And that's ultimately, I think, a net positive, but I still think the trip itself is going to be entertainment. So I am waiting to see. I am waiting. We're going to keep watching the prep. We're going to see how it goes. She asked at one point if she could stream on the plane. I was like, sorry? No! Of course you can't. Oh man, the fact that she thinks she's gonna have good enough Wi-Fi to stream on a plane. Excuse me, never mind the privacy issues and the fact that you're this far from your neighbor. Like, what? Like, you can vlog in airports. I have vlogged in airports when I've been going from place to place and just like, guys, we're going. But it's a few quick shots, because you've seen me do that where I don't want to put everyone else on blast and I don't want to be disrespectful to the people next to me. So I've taken little shots and I've edited them together. Like I showed you sort of the ceiling of the plane on the Emirates flight and that kind of thing, and the food. That I think she could do, but her usual business of live streaming, no. And also be really careful in the airport with that, because there are things you are not supposed to film. Come on now. When it's stuff like that, I'm like, sorry, even as someone who hasn't traveled that often, shouldn't that be obvious? But then again, that might just be me being incredibly privileged, and my apologies if it is. But as I say, entertainment abound, and we're going to keep watching it for sure. All right, I'm going to finish my tea. It is time for me to take, guys, the amount of medicine I have here. Okay, in the UK, we've got the flu. We get one of these. It's like a max strength. It's an all-in-one over-the-counter. It's no big deal. I actually took a sick day from work. It was my first time ever doing it. I wasn't quite sure what to do, actually. But I have to get a doctor's note because of HR. Yeah? So I go and I see the doctor and he gives me, you guys, they basically all do the same as that pill there. But because I went to the doctor, now I have to do it his way. Because, I'm not a doctor. He is the professional. He will tell me what I need. And I'm not going to literally pay him to not follow his instructions because I think I know better, because who the hell am I? So he has given me something for sinuses. Here's the thing about, I don't want to, like in Asia as well, but also here, medicine abroad, they will just give you a medicine for every single symptom instead of a combination one. So I have an antihistamine for sneezing, runny nose, itchy throat, that kind of thing. I have some kind of cough medicine that I have to take 3 times a day. It's a 5-day supply, so I've got 2 of those. One pleasant thing about this is it doesn't taste like it's actively trying to kill me. It doesn't taste particularly good, but it's non-offensive, which is quite nice. There used to be a traditional Chinese medicine one that was basically 3/4 honey that was amazing for the throat. I can't remember the name of it. I'll try and get a picture somewhere, but I used to love that in China. I've got some basic Feverdol, which is known as Panadol in other places. We call it paracetamol in the UK. I think it's just Tylenol in the US, so a basic fever reducer. And I've got this one. This is the one thing I think my over-the-counter can't do, which is, it's Ceftinia. I'm not very good with drug names, sorry guys, but it's an antibiotic to help with, in the UK they don't prescribe antibiotics just to help with minor chest infections. So I've got an upper respiratory infection, that was a hard word, but usually the doctor in UK would just laugh at you and be like, go drink a Lemsip and stop bothering me, you know. But here the doctor said because of the environment, because the fact that it's very dusty, very dry, you're more likely to get irritation in like the lining of your nose, the lining in your throat, your chest, and it's harder for these things to clear up. They're more likely to get serious, so they tend to just prescribe it to kick it out. And he said if in 5 days I don't see improvement, I should just come and see him. And so I'm taking all of this. I was telling you this for a reason and I can't remember what the reason was. Because my brain, oh yeah, that was it. I'm taking all of these anyway. And I was like, oh, I'd forgotten how you get prescribed all the things here. But I'm going to go and take some of those and I'm going to leave you be. Sorry if I've been all over the place and very jumpy because I've been coughing and all of that. Hopefully I'll feel better and be able to give you a few more videos over the next few days. I am at work, you know how it goes. If I'm busy at work, I probably won't be doing this. But I'll do my best, and it's been quite long. Oh, I was going to tell you about how I booked a trip home, but we'll get into that another day because this has already gone on long enough. All right, I will see you another time, everybody. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.